We are physical recovery. So that means helping you feel better, helping your body feel better, helping you keep moving. Since COVID, people definitely more apt to be preventative and, like you said, take their lifestyle into their own hands. People moving away from having to just take a medication as the first line of defense. At the time, I didn't think, I'd be an entrepreneur 5 years ago. Things that happened in my life, being in a job that you are not happy with, that you dread going to every day. So several different things that happened probably over the last 5 to 7 years that at that time, I wasn't necessarily thinking about entrepreneurship. But now that I look back, I'm like, that definitely played a role to where I am today.
And we're off. Welcome everybody to the Commonwealth Connections podcast. This is your host, Dawson Field, with my co-host, as always, Weston Wilson. And today we have Emily Johnson in the studio with Recovery Room Lexington.
Just Recovery Room, we are located in Lexington.
All right. And you all offer various services of recovery therapy, which can look a lot different, and it's many different services. So I'll let you kind of more give a better overview of all the different things you do.
Absolutely. And so when recovery can mean different things, I get a lot of calls about kind of addiction recovery. That's not what we are. We are physical recovery. So that means helping you feel better, helping your body feel better, helping you keep moving. So our services include cold plunge, of course, is the big one. We have infrared sauna, red light therapy, IV vitamin therapy, compression therapy. We do some localized cryotherapy, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, and assisted stretching. I think I got them. So our goal is to help people of all ages. I mean, we have high school athletes, even middle school athletes that come in, all the way up to, I think my oldest person is right around 80 that comes in. So, it's not just kind of a young person or an older person, it's an everybody kind of thing. But we just want to help keep people active. We know that activity and exercise is what's best for our health as we go throughout our lives. And, sometimes things come up, whether it's injuries, chronic pain, old injuries, just, the effects of aging. And we want to help keep people moving because we know that's what's best for our health. So that's the big goal there.
That's awesome. So are you originally from Lexington, or what's kind of your background and what got you here?
So I'm actually from Louisville, but I've been in Lexington since I think it was about 2005. I'm a nurse practitioner, but I started out as an RN. I worked as an RN for about 10 years in both Louisville and Lexington, mostly Lexington at St. Joe's in the ICU. Then decided I didn't want to do 12-hour shifts and holidays and nights and all that kind of stuff anymore. So I went back to school, got my nurse practitioner. My first job was in primary care, just taking care of sick kids and diabetes and adults and that kind of stuff. And then I moved on to hormone replacement therapy and weight loss, which is really where I kind of got my passion for preventative medicine, just kind of learning more about lifestyle changes and how impactful it can actually be on our health. I think that medicine, definitely has a place. We need it. You break your arm, you need to go get that fixed. But that's kind of when I was working in that job is really when I just kind of said, oh my gosh, if we can just stay active and exercise and eat right and keep our weight healthy and not smoke, then we won't acquire all these chronic diseases and necessitate all these expensive medications. And that can cause even more problems in terms of side effects. So I was a big cheerleader of prevention at that point. And so that's kind of really been my big focus as far as my practice goes since then. So after that, kind of moved around a little bit. And, it takes a couple jobs that you just aren't very happy in and to kind of get to the point where you're going to say, I'm just going to do my own thing. And so that's kind of what led me to opening Recovery Room is just kind of getting to the point where I didn't want to do the traditional medicine route anymore. Kind also seeing a need in Lexington for what we do. I kind of, through my research with opening a recovery room, I just saw so many other cities. I mean, just as close as Louisville, you can find multiple places similar to what we do. So I was like, oh gosh, I'm going to go for this. I need to be the first one. So went for it, jumped off that diving board and haven't looked back.
That's awesome.
So.
And what year was it when you first opened it here?
So let's see, it was 20, are we in now 24, 20. So we opened in February of 22 because we're coming up on our 2-year birthday. Well, 23, I guess. Yeah.
23. Yeah. It'll be February 25
right.
will be 2 years.
It will be 2 years. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So we were definitely kind of past the COVID craze.
Yes.
But I feel like COVID for the health industry, it was actually very positive because everybody was, I feel like, has kind of taken a different outlook on health since COVID. I know a lot more people that are like, yeah, I'm just trying to eat healthier, like as a lifestyle since COVID.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that are like looking into kind of taking their health in their own hands.
I 100% agree with you. I hear that every day. Since COVID, people, yes, are definitely more apt to be preventative and, like you said, take their lifestyle into their own hands. People moving away from having to just take a medication as the first line of defense. If you go into the doctor and they say, oh, your cholesterol's high, here's this medicine. Well, hang on. Can we just try making some changes for a couple months and recheck it and then go from there? Because, these are things that you can impact. You can impact your labs as far as cholesterol. You can impact your blood pressure, bringing that down, getting the weight off and things like that. Those are things that you can do on your own. And I think that since COVID, people are definitely opening their eyes to that and realizing that may be the route that might be best for them. So
I dropped my cholesterol and triglycerides, total cholesterol, in half just by not eating fast food every meal.
Yep. And, unfortunately, I've been in primary care and it is a hard job. And you just do not have the time to do the education that people need. And so I was lucky after my primary care stint that I did have a job where I could spend 30 to 60 minutes with clients and educating them on how impactful just changing a couple lifestyle behaviors can be. So, I think that the more education that we can get out there about that, the better, for sure.
So tell us a little bit of what it was like. You were doing your research for Recovery Room. What were all the pieces that fell into place? What did you learn along the way? First time entrepreneur, you had to lease a building, you had to fit a building, you had to buy all this equipment, you had to brand yourself. Tell us all about that.
Sure. I think along the way, I would have given you a different answer than now, because looking back, I think the process probably started a lot sooner than, the year leading up to Recovery Room opening. Even though at the time I didn't think, I'd be an entrepreneur, maybe 5 years ago. But I think the things that happened in my life with career changes, being in a job that you are not happy with, that you dread going to every day, or being in a job where you just don't feel like there's any growth for you, you're not happy, or the way traditional medicine was, and I was not happy with having to deal with all the confines of that. So several different things like that happened probably over the last 5 to 7 years that at that time, I wasn't necessarily thinking about entrepreneurship, but now that I look back, I'm like, that definitely played a role to where I am today. Even going through a divorce, so many different things that has happened that at the time I really was like, definitely contemplated getting out of nursing altogether. That now I know that kind of all just was a layer in my story and kind of led me to where I am. So, but yeah, probably about a year prior to opening a recovery room is really when the whole concept was coming to me. through probably social media and finding other places similar to what we do. I was doing some IV vitamin therapy at the last place I worked and just kind of looking around how other businesses had their IV menus and things like that structured. I kind of stumbled into this whole recovery center, realm, I guess. And there's, of course, places in New York and Chicago and LA, very similar. They're on every corner. But even as close as Louisville and Cincinnati, I was like, oh, wow, there's really nowhere in Lexington that has something like this. How cool would that be to be the first? And so that kind of got me going. So I, just kind of did some research. Did a ton of research on all of our equipment and all of the services that we offered, because I really wanted to pick things that I knew that if I said that this particular service was going to help with XYZ, that it actually was. So I wanted quality products, and I wanted to, actually be able to people to see the benefits of what we were doing. So I spent a lot of time kind of picking and choosing, because there's some crazy stuff out there. But so I kind of narrowed it down to what we have now, and I've been very happy with the list of our services. I feel like our clients love it. So, we could definitely add in things like that as we go. We're not a franchise. So that's another thing is we did look at franchises and they're just very expensive. So we didn't go that route, just kind of planned it all on my own and with a little help from my husband. But yeah, I just did a ton of research and reading for about a year before it all came together. And then, I did utilize the Small Business Association here in Lexington. I had a little business coaching with them. My accountant who does my books now, she did some business coaching with me because I literally have no business background at all. I'm just never had to do that at all. And that's not the way my brain works. So I had to learn a lot about that, and I still don't know much. But I'm just kind of floundering and going as I go. But anyways, so I did a lot of that business coaching, wrote the business plan, had the template for that and everything. And who knows, I could probably look back at it now and laugh, but it is what it is. So yeah, we did that. And it's funny, you talked about the space, looking for the space. I too work out at LAC. And so that was kind of like my original idea was that Lexington Athletic Club had a space inside there. If you're still there, I think, across from the soccer. But anyways, I was like, oh, well, that would be a great spot to be in there. You have people coming and going in the gym. It'd be awesome. And we even spoke with them. And actually at that point in time, they had someone else interested in the spot ahead of us. So we ended up just leaving there, and literally right across the street next to Kirkland's in that little strip, there was a sign up for space for rent. So I called the number, saw the space, and that's home today. So literally looked at one spot and that was it.
That's awesome.
So as far as that whole process goes, that was pretty easy. And I kind of at one point along the line, after like getting loans, getting the space, working on the fit up, I was like, wow, this is easy. What am I doing wrong? I feel like I'm missing something, or when's the other shoe going to drop? Because it all did come pretty easy at that point. But there's certainly been hiccups along the way, but it was pretty smooth. So for such a newbie, that's probably a good thing, or else I may have gotten scared off. But anyways, so the fit up was pretty quick and easy. We did have about this time, I guess 2 years ago, our whole entire garage was full of just equipment, sauna, in its pieces, all the compression stuff. The cold plunge was delivered right to the store, so that's good. But we just had our whole entire garage full. So we moved in, and I mean, the whole timeline worked out well, and just moved right along with everything. So it was a pretty smooth process.
I'm sure. Well, I'm not going to speculate. What were some of your struggles like once you got the doors open about getting your name out there, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I think to this day, marketing is a struggle for us. Just getting our name. Like you said, you had never even heard of us before you heard of us.
I go to LAC
right.
3 days a week.
You never even looked across the street?
No.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to get a sign out on that road.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. Like I just got on Google Street View to see if you guys had a sign because I was like, how? You said it was literally across the street. I knew you were by the mall, but I did not actually know physically exactly where you were.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's literally like, I just drive by that parking lot every single day.
Yep. And you probably don't go to Kirkland's too much, do you?
No, never.
Yeah, our clientele doesn't overlap a whhole lot. No. But I'm sorry. What was the original
just
question?
Getting your name out, like what?
Getting our name
challenge?
out. Yes.
Getting customers in the door day one.
Yeah, because by the time the doors opened, our money has kind of dwindled. So we needed to start making money so we could just kind of turn that back around and put that in. And I literally with marketing had no idea what to do. I kind of was never a big social media person personally before. I mean, I think I still to this day have fewer than 200 followers on my personal Instagram. So I just never was a big social media person. So learning that, because I think that social media marketing is probably pretty much the only thing that has really worked well for us. So learning that has been very, important for our business. We get a ton of people from social media. And then one of the first things I did was reach out to a lot of trainers, personal trainers around town, people involved in that kind of circle, and just invite them in. Hey, come in, check us out. So post about us on social media. I'll let you do a cold plunge for free, whatever it took to get the word out. And then also just the boots on the ground. I was at different gyms just about every week, handing out, information about us, talking to people. I would take the compression boots with me, let people try those out for free, even though they would look at me like, what the heck is that? But yeah, really just getting out in the community in front of the people. I think that would be our best clientele. So that's kind of like where we started is just grabbing those gym goers, and, reaching out to them because I felt like that was our probably biggest, clientele at the beginning. And then it's just kind of grown, from there. I think we've had a lot of organic, growth. A lot of word of mouth is still to this day probably our number one marketing tool is just word of mouth. I'd really try to give the very best customer service. And I love when people come in and enjoy their experience, when they have a good time and they come back over and over again. That's just my favorite thing. And so when they tell their friends about it and they come back, that's probably been our biggest, pull to get people in the door. Another fun thing that we do is a lot of teams. We'll do groups or teams. So we've targeted some high school sports teams around town and brought them in to do group things. So that's been really fun. But yeah, just really kind of trying to do different things like that, put that out on social media. We've tried a couple, other things with paid marketing and just, I don't know, nothing seems to work as well as just kind of the organic stuff. So yeah. What we're doing.
Well, if it works, organic works.
Well, that and, we were kind of forced into that at the beginning just because of our budget being so small.
Right.
Yeah. It's still not huge.
Yeah. But, and you are membership based, right? But people more sign up for memberships and come back regularly.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. We are membership based. So, but people can also buy individual services. We have packages and memberships, of course, because I think people do best and see the best benefit for them when they are in on a regular basis. But we certainly will let people just drop in and do individual services.
I'm sure that helps it grow organically if they're coming regularly, kind of like a gym.
Yes.
They're continually coming and then they just share the word about it.
That's right. And again, that is where you are going to see the best results is if you are in there the red light therapy, for example, you have got to be in there and be committed to coming 2 to 3 days a week and, every single week, or you're just not going to see the results. So so that's why that's kind of set up the way it is. So
how many hours a week are you spending doing your own recovery in the at the recovery room? I'm sure it could get very part of me would be it can be very addictive because you have access to it all the time, right? But then also it's do I really want to spend more time at work?
Yes. So honestly, right now I'm doing 12 minutes a week of recovery. I do. So that is one thing I will not skip is my cold plunging. So I do that twice a week religiously on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I go after my workout. We open later on Tuesdays and Thursdays, not till 11. So it just works out scheduling wise. I know everybody's like, oh, I bet you do this stuff all the time. And I'm just like, no, just like any business owner at the end of the day, you just want to go home. You don't want to be there, because you're already there a lot, but not that I don't love it. I do. I love being there, but also, I have kids and a husband and a dog and a family and other things that need to be done too. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
That makes sense.
Although I really, do need to make more time for myself. So,
yeah. What's let's talk about just employees, some of the struggles, some of the lessons you had to learn. Never had employees before this now,
Yes. And I am not, I'm not a good probably manager of people. I don't like confrontation. I don't want to tell you when you're doing something wrong. So I'm really bad about that. So I have kind of been forced into that role, obviously, and trying to be better about it. But yes, I have 2 part-time employees right now, not including my husband because he does help a lot. But that's the funny thing about that is they have been with me from day one, both of them. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
Being a first-time manager of people, really, I guess I'm doing an okay job, or I don't know, but I think, they both do a very good job. And, there are times where I have to do some, I don't want to say disciplinary, but, have some conversations that are not fun. And it's just, I just try to be as fair and level about it. And to be honest with you, I go to my husband a lot for that because I don't think I've said this yet, but he is a football coach. And so he's a much better manager of people. He has 70 plus high school kids he's got to keep track of. So he's really good at that. So he gives me a lot of advice on that. And also I'm someone who probably needs to step away from the situation for a little bit and then kind of come back to it later.
Yeah. And sometimes your people are that way too.
Yes.
It's something because I'm not that way. I just want to deal with it now.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm a procrastinator in that department.
Oh no, I won't be able to sleep. Mm. So I would just go home thinking about it. So I want to deal with it now so I can stop thinking about it.
Get it over.
Yeah. Yeah. So otherwise it'll just eat me alive. In the restaurant industry, I might go 4 days without seeing somebody just because of how schedules line up.
Right.
And so it's I have to deal with this now because otherwise I'm going to be miserable for the next 4 days. I'm just going to be fuming for 4 days until I see you again, and then I can talk to you. But then I learned I had to learn how to deal with that because some people, if I didn't give them the space, the conversation just never went well. Mm-hmm. They had to detach, and I just had to deal with it.
Yeah,
because I was never going to get my point across ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I get emotional about it at the beginning because I'm when you're the business owner, you want everything done a certain way and you want it done. And I'm a perfectionist. I will admit, so my way is obviously the best way of doing things. Right. And if it's not done my way, then that's not right. No, I'm kidding. But, even simple things like folding towels or whatever. It's something that you kind of have to get over, that everybody's different. When it comes down to if customer service is going to suffer,
Right.
then that's a problem. And that's when I'm going to have to intervene. But yeah, I do kind of have to just separate myself from it at first until I can be a little bit more level about it.
Yeah. I'm laughing about the folding towels because like there was definitely been times in my career where I've just like cared way too much about things similarly. Yeah. And it's just like, that doesn't matter. Like, why am I
obsessing about
like, why am I causing myself stress over something that no one's going to notice but me?
Yes, exactly. Yep. I've asked myself that question many times. But like I said, I'm so, I really want people to enjoy their experience and we get a lot of compliments on just the space in general, how calming it is, how relaxing it is. I have to wake people up from naps all the time in there. So I think that is a sign that people are really comfortable, when they come in there, which is good. I love it when people take a nap. I'm like, you obviously needed a nap. So 30 minutes to take a break and come in there and relax. That's great. So, when people compliment the space in that way, then that makes me feel like I've done a good job. And so if I see that something isn't the way, is going to make that suffer, then I'm going to have to intervene.
You're going to add naps as a service on the website?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Free naps?
It's been suggested. So, yeah.
I own the Culvers on Reynolds Road, so I could just like drive over and take a nap.
Yeah. You should. Absolutely. We do have one guy that sings in the cold plunge, so that may keep you awake. But other than that, it's usually pretty chill in there.
He sings in the cold plunge.
He sings, yes.
I hope he's at least good.
It's okay. He knows who he is. No, it's endearing. I have actually, I should start writing this stuff down. It would be funny, but like the singing, the different breathing techniques, that sounds like Lamaze breathing, like you're having a baby, certainly some choice curse words coming out of there, but it is definitely comical. What you hear coming from that room sometimes.
Well, the breathing is definitely, that might be good for some social media marketing, like Instagram reels. Like you just like ask people if you can record the noise. And just like record all the noises. We do have the guy singing on somewhere, on our Instagram somewhere. Okay. Yeah. So you could probably scroll back through there and find it. But, I think most people get a kick out of it. It's all of a sudden you're sitting there, you've never been in there or experienced it before, and you hear, he's usually a country singer. So you hear that coming out of there, and I always have to explain to people what's going on because they're like, what? Where'd that come from all of a sudden? Yeah. But, I think people, have a good time with it. So the breathing is important on a cold plunge.
Oh yes.
Because like
number one important thing.
Yeah. If you don't like get your breath under control, it is like,
you're not going to last.
Like going to like panic mode.
Oh yeah.
It's
now,
nuts.
Have you done a cold plunge?
Not like I've done the ice bath like at home.
Okay.
I got it down to 41 degrees.
That's pretty good.
That's the coldest I've ever gone. Mm-hmm. So I was working down like 1 degree a week. And then finally I just like folded. I was just like, I was bringing home bags of ice from the restaurant.
I was going to say, we're using Sonic ice. That probably melts really fast.
Yeah. No. Oh no. On the Culvers. So yeah.
Culver.
But we have bigger ice cubes, but yeah, I was bringing home ice and I was having to fill up. We have like one of those big like sauna like tubs. Mm-hmm.
Like the whirlpool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it takes forever to fill it up and it's so slow. So it's like a 45-minute ordeal for me to cold plunge for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, and we have two little kids in the house, 5-month-old and 2-year-old. And I'm like bringing home a cooler of ice every day or 3 times a week and trying to do this. And my wife is like, Weston, like, it's not worth the time.
And in the summertime, you need a lot of ice because that water coming out of the faucet is 80 degrees usually.
Yeah. And I had my little thermometer like floating around in there and like, I need a little bit more ice.
Yep.
Well, I'm just imagining your employees seeing you fill a cooler of ice before leaving work. Yeah. Like every day.
I kept it in my car and it was a disaster. Like it was just too much work.
It's a lot of work.
Cause it was like 5 minutes just to fill up the ice bucket, or my cooler. And then I had to bring it home and then I had to carry it upstairs. I mean, it was exhausting to be honest, but I loved it.
Well, now you can just walk right across the street from LAC.
Yeah.
And you'll be in and out of there in 10 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So much easier.
Yes. I didn't even know you guys were there.
Now you don't have an excuse.
Yeah. Now I don't have an excuse, but but when I did it, is the breathing was just like the first time I was just like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've had people, I tell this to people all the time. If you get in there and you have like an oh crap moment and jump right out, just try again. Because I think the breathing is the biggest thing that people underestimate. Like we've all jumped in a cold pool, in May or a cold lake, and it just takes your breath away. And it's the same thing with the cold plunge.
But it's worse.
It is. Yes.
Yeah. The cold lake is nothing compared to a cold plunge.
You really have to mentally focus. It's like all you can think about when you're in the cold plunge is your breathing. So I talk to people about doing the box breathing where it's 4 seconds out, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold. And you just kind of go over that. And you guys will have to come see the setup. We have a really cool light display in the cold plunge. So it's like stars and solar system kind of floating around on the ceiling and walls. Cool. So just to kind of help distract you from the misery.
Yeah.
But no, it's totally worth it. Once you get out, you feel so good. It's always for me, it's my best energy days. I'm just full of energy all day long. I get a lot of work done because I can really focus. I can sit down as long as I'm not being distracted by 10 other things. But yeah, I can sit down and really pound out some work if I need to. I don't have any of my little 40 plus aches and pains that I normally do. So I'm usually in a really good mood afterwards. It's just, that was
the largest thing I noticed was like my energy and focus just was super elevated where like the muscle recovery and aches and pains, like maybe there was like a little bit for me, but it wasn't like anything that was just like, it was nothing like the mental clarity and energy, like no caffeine needed, nothing, like just wake up and you just feel like $1 million after you get out of that thing.
And it's a good energy. It's not like a jittery, like you could get with caffeine. But there's been times where I've done it in the evening, the end of the day. And then I do have a problem going to sleep at night sometimes. So, cause I'm just like ready to go.
Right.
So
yeah. Cold plunge in the morning for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Now sauna on the other hand, that's tucks you in, ready to go to sleep.
Right. Well, so what I've heard is like in the morning, your body. So I had to have an entire freezer cleared out to put my ice in when I got home because I was cold plunging in the morning. So I had to store the ice overnight.
Freezer just for your cold plunge ice.
Yeah. Yes, literally. It was a lot. But your body needs to heat up in the mornings. So a cold plunge, actually you're dropping your body temperature so low that then your body heats itself up by the cold plunge. And you actually, when you get out and you actually truly air dry and you don't just dry off with a towel, then the effects are even greater.
Right.
And you can really kind of feel your face getting flushed and like really getting hot. And the sauna, you get your body so hot, it naturally gets it cooler and you need to cool your body down to actually get better sleep.
Right.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And the, the other thing about the cold plunge that a lot of people don't realize is, so we have what's called brown fat. Have you heard about the brown fat? So that's really metabolically dense fat. White fat is what's like on our bellies and our thighs. That's what makes us fat. But brown fat is very metabolically dense fat. And so cold water kind of engages it and gives it a rev up. And so, if you get in that cold plunge and get that kind of going, you get a metabolic burn after getting out, even, for hours afterwards, because that's your body working hard to warm it back up, and that metabolic boost similar to a workout that you get. So it can help with like insulin resistance and things like that. So, there's still a lot of research that needs to be done with it, but, the kind of preliminary stuff, we see all kinds of positive things beyond just, oh, I feel good.
Yeah.
So.
Huberman has a really good episode on cold plunges.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, he does. Yeah. He's got lots of good stuff.
Yeah. And saunas too.
Yes. Yep. He's a big cold plunge and sauna guy.
Yeah.
So. Yep.
So walk through all the services for us real quick, just the pros and cons. I'm sure there's probably not cons, but what would I go in for localized cryo for? What would I go in for red light therapy for? What would I go in? If I came in and said, hey, I'm feeling this, what would you suggest to me?
Yeah. So just to kind of start that whole conversation, we have a consult visit too. So people can come in and they can meet with me. And I kind of show them everything in the whole store, all of our services, kind of talk about the benefits, but I'll also sit down with them individually and say, hey, what's going on with you? What are your main areas of concern? Is it low energy? Is it knee pain? Is it sleep? Whatever that individual's area of concern is. And I'll just say, okay, here's where I think, what we have can best benefit you, and kind of talk about, okay, you need XYZ. Here's how often you should be coming in. Here's what would benefit you the most. So there's that option, which is kind of underutilized at this point, but we do have that available. But yes, we were talking about earlier, which we really haven't talked about here yet, is the IV vitamin therapy has been really popular for us lately. I think yesterday I did 7 IVs and probably 6 of them were sick people, or either just trying to get over an illness or feel like they're starting to get sick or having a hard time bouncing back after getting sick. So, this is the kind of time of year around the holidays, you're around so many people, exposed to a lot of viruses and things like that, whether it's with travel or whatever. And IV vitamin therapy is a great way to just kind of bounce back quicker. So it's not going to cure, whatever virus or bacteria or whatever that's causing your problem, but it definitely is going to boost up your immune systems, full of vitamin C, zinc, all the B vitamins, that kind of stuff, which are really helpful for your immune system to fight off whatever's going on with you. And then just also make you feel better in the meantime. So that's been really popular lately. And so a lot of people think that IV vitamin therapy is just for hangovers. And I rarely do a hangover. I mean, I have some people here and there, but the majority is probably for illness or just overall kind of health and wellness, people looking for a little bit of an energy boost. I have a lot of people that are training for something, marathons. I did a lot of marathons about a month ago. I think I had several people running the New York Marathon and other ones around town. So people will like to do those to kind of just help with cramping. I've got several high school students that do them, football players, before a football game to help with the cramping. That's a big thing, with those type of athletes, especially in the summer months. So it's definitely for more than just hangovers.
Yeah.
So that's been very popular lately. And then just to kind of go down the list, we talked about the cold plunging, it's great for the energy, the mood, the aches and pains, that kind of stuff, the muscle recovery. But in as far as how often you should be in there, there's tons of different recommendations out there. The kind of one constant one that I see is to get a cumulative 11 minutes in 1 week. So whether you do that in 2 or 3 sessions, in a week, but just as long as you kind of add that up to about 11 or 12 minutes, then that's kind of like a good sweet spot. Of course, it'd be great to do it every morning and kind of in place of your coffee.
Yeah.
The sauna is the big thing that I try to tell people about is just the cardiovascular benefits. Yes, it feels great to sit in there in that sauna, that warm sauna, especially on a day like today or yesterday with the snow. But the cardiovascular benefits are amazing. It can help cut your risk for cardiovascular death in half. It can help bring your blood pressure down. It can help, with Alzheimer's and dementia. So all kinds of things like that. But you do have to be in there regularly. It's not a sporadic, I'm going to come once a month and help with all that kind of stuff. You definitely have to be in there a couple times a week, 2 or 3 times a week to see those types of benefits. The red light therapy helps with your cellular health. So our bodies are meant to heal themselves, but so many things that we do to them, like lack of sleep, stress, poor diet, alcohol intake, whatever it is, kind of makes everything a little sluggish. So the red light therapy kind of amps all that up. So it's great for inflammatory processes, skin. It's amazing for skin, not just fine lines and wrinkles, but skin disorders like eczema, psoriasis, that type of stuff. It's great for just overall health and wellness. Mood is another really good one. We talked about the kind of gray winter we're coming into right now, and it can really help with that seasonal affect disorder, just coming in, getting a little bit of light therapy. But again, that's another one that you have to be in there a couple times a week and be consistent with it and patient with it, because it can take time to see the best results. So our people love it though. It's our number one booked therapy the last couple months. The red light therapy has been. I've even had a couple doctors around town that have sent their patients to me, or just at least told them, go find somewhere that does red light therapy and do it. So for various things like thyroid diseases, for pain, rheumatoid diseases, things like that. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
I think a lot of doctors are kind of becoming more open-minded in that arena. So we're seeing a lot more of that kind of stuff. The compression therapy, that's usually if you see me out at a gym, Orange Theory or Cycle Bar for pop-ups, things like that, that I'm taking the compression boots with me. So those are the big Normatec compression garments, which a lot of pro athletes use. But they are awesome. So they squeeze and release. Well, they go on your legs or arms. We have them for arms as well, but they squeeze and release with air in a sequential pattern that mimics your circulation. So it helps promote your circulation. If you have swelling or inflammation, it can definitely help with that. It's great for that delayed onset muscle soreness. So after a run or a leg day, when you have those sore muscles the next day, if you can do compression therapy after your workout, then you're not going to be as sore the next day. And it just feels so good. It's just, that's where people fall asleep and take the naps when they're sitting there in those compression boots. And then of course, I always try to get any of our people that are doing the IVs, I always try to let them do the compression therapy while they're sitting there. So, down the list. So the localized cryotherapy you mentioned. So a lot of people know what cryotherapy is, the really cold air. And most people see the booths that people step in with the earmuffs and the mittens and everything. But ours is local. So it just shoots the cryo right out of a handpiece at a targeted area. So it's more for specific areas of pain or injury. So anything that you would ice, if you think, oh, I sprained my ankle or my knee's hurting, or it's great for tendinitises in the wrist and elbow and anywhere really. But anything that you would ice, you can do the cryo. And it's very quick. Most treatments are 4 to 6 minutes because it's so cold coming out of there that you don't need to sit there with an ice pack for 20 minutes on whatever body part you're using it on. But it's really good to kind of help with those acute injuries. And then let's see here, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, as we just call it PEMF. And what that does is that creates a magnetic field. And it's another kind of similar to the red light therapy, but it helps with your cell health, and it can accelerate the body's natural healing process. There's actually a ton of research, or I should say a lot of research with bone healing specifically with PEMF. So I've had a lot of people with stress fractures, or if they've had surgery, like joint replacement surgeries, even people who just have injuries, an area of injury, it just accelerates your body's natural healing. So again, our bodies are meant to heal. It just kind of helps that process go a little faster. And you can use it for targeted areas of injury, or there's also a lot of benefits to using like whole body treatment. So we have a larger mat that you would lay on, and it's, again, just helpful for your cellular health, lots of different benefits there. So let me think here. We do have assisted stretching. This is kind of a limited therapy that we have, but it's great. Megan is our assisted stretch practitioner, and she's only there on Tuesdays right now, but we will hopefully kind of grow that. But she actually has a level 3 fascial stretch certification from Stretch to Win Institute, which is really kind of a prestigious certification. And I think there's really no one in this area that has that type of certification that she has. So she does a really good job with assisted stretching. And she will sit down and talk to you and say, hey, what's your area of concern? If it's your back, if it's your hips, you have something specific, she will really kind of target that stretch routine to what your needs are. So
that's awesome.
Yes.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a whole lot.
What do you find? Which ones are you doing more than others? Which ones are kind of your heavy hitters? Or were they all kind of being utilized when you first started? Or have you noticed more one thing was popular when you first started and it's different now?
Yeah. Obviously the cold plunge is a big pull. I think, people Google that cold plunge near me, where can I get that? And originally we just had one cold plunge tub in a room by itself. And then the room next door was the sauna by itself. And as we started learning more and things change, people started loving going from the sauna to the cold plunge. Well, they were in separate rooms. So people would have to kind of like scurry with their little bathing suit and a towel wrapped around them from one room to the next. And it's a slick concrete floor. I was like, that's not good. So,
not a good insurance.
No, insurance, not good. So I was like, hey, let's get another cold plunge. So we did. This is kind of a bonehead move that, as we do as newbies in business. But so I kind of got sucked into an Instagram ad and bought this cheap version of a cold plunge trying to save money, and you get what you pay for. So it lasted a couple months and then it died, and there was absolutely no support. All the instructions and the display on the pump where you would kind of control it, everything was in Chinese.
Oh
so, the email that I would send, never hearing a response, or I would get like a generic response, we'll get back to you or something like that. So yeah, that was a miss for sure. So we got rid of that one and we bought the exact same one that we have in the main room. So now that room has the sauna and the cold plunge. So that has become hugely popular. The contrast therapy is what we call it. So people just will go back and forth between the sauna and the cold plunge all together in one private room. So our OG cold plunge doesn't get as much action as it used to, but it's still there if you want just a quick in and out. And then the IV therapy has just been really big. People are just, I think, learning that it's a great alternative to going to hospital, the emergency room, sitting in there for hours when really you just have whether it's a stomach bug or upper respiratory infection. Yes, you might get some fluids in the emergency room, but what else are you going to contract while sitting there waiting? How much is that going to cost you? You could be in and out of, our place in an hour, and it's probably cheaper and much more, aesthetically pleasing, comfortable, probably smells better, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
what was like sales first month? You guys profitable? Second month, first 6 months? Like, when did you start seeing like, okay, hey, like we're making money, we're not bleeding, all that good stuff?
Trying to think about when it was and I could start paying myself. When we first opened, I still kept my other job in a part-time. Well, I'll take that back. I had planned to take a leave from my other job. And so I did. So I could really focus on recovery room the first couple months. And then I went back in kind of a part-time capacity. And I did that for about a year. And after about a year, I was able to step away because I just realized that this is what I really want to do. I really want to make this go. I really want to make this happen. I want this to be, my everyday job. So that was probably when I felt comfortable enough. We were making money before that, but I think that's when I felt, after about a year, I felt comfortable enough that I could, step away, be able to pay myself, and make it.
Yeah.
So, there were some long days in those probably first 6 months where we only had a couple people in a day. And at that point in time, I was taking the laundry home every night and doing laundry, the towels. We do a ton of towels. So I can't believe this now, but every night I would take the towels home and wash them in my washer and dryer at home because we didn't have one at recovery room. And so after, I don't know, I say 6 months, we finally bought laundry. And now we're doing like 4 and 5 loads of laundry a day. I couldn't imagine taking that home now. So, but anyways, that's kind of how I look back, and I can't believe I did all that on top of the laundry at house. But yeah, I would say probably about 6 months, we were starting to do, start to cover some expenses. And then a year, I felt really good to where I could be full-time at Recovery Room.
Right.
So.
And where are you guys at now? Like, have you doubled sales since last year?
Since this time last year, we're probably getting close. Yes, I would say we're getting close to that. Just under probably double what we did last November.
That's awesome.
So I'd have to double check those numbers, but yeah.
That's really good growth.
Pretty close, I think. So, yeah, I mean, I think that I would definitely like to see more growth. We have more room in our schedule. So people keep saying, well, when are you going to get another sauna? When are you going to get another red light therapy room? And I'm like, well, when I have every single day booked solid, then I will think about that. But I don't know. I don't think I can justify it right now before I see that more consistently.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have like kind of peak times where people are coming in more often or?
Yeah. It really just varies. It's wild. Saturdays can get kind of busy, because it's our only weekend day. We are closed on Sundays. And that, again, is something I would love to eventually expand our hours. I think a lot of people would love to come hop in the cold plunge before work in the morning. And right now, really the earliest, I can make it happen is 8:30. So, I would love to be able to at some point maybe be open at like 6 a.m. so people can maybe hit the gym, go cold plunge, go home, take a shower, get ready for work, whatever, start their day. So that, it would definitely be a goal of mine. And then possibly be open on Sundays too. But at this point in time, I got to have a day off, you know? So yeah.
How late are you guys open?
It's staggered right now. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's 8:30 to 5:30. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 to 7. So we have some later hours there. And then Saturdays is 8:30 to 2.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So you still have some room before you buy more equipment to expand hours.
Yes.
Bring on some maybe more part-time employees or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Be able to make that work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the goal would be to expand there first. And people ask me all the time when I'm going to open one in Hamburg. And I'm like, oh my gosh, hang on, people, let's get this one up and going for a couple of years first. But I do understand that nobody, can't go on the other side of town. It's like the other side of the earth, for me, at least on this side of town, going over there and vice versa. So,
oh yeah. Well, especially for something like this,
right.
You don't want to drive 25 minutes across town to get in a cold plunge.
Right.
Right. It's going to be like my experience of trying to do it upstairs in my bathtub. It's just, you're spending a 20-minute drive there, 20-minute drive back, 10 minutes in the cold plunge, a couple minutes to change and dry off. It's like,
right.
You're just not going to do it.
No, I agree.
People don't have an hour in their schedule to cold plunge.
No. When you're there for just 10 minutes, it's like, oh gosh, the travel time's not worth it. Right. I can see that for sure.
And then you do something like the sauna where you really need like 60 minutes a week and you do a 30-minute session. And so now it's like an hour and a half ordeal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I know.
No way,
Yep. So we'll get there though, hopefully.
Yeah. But at least you figured out the formula, it seems like, and you're like learning a lot. And
yes.
I'm sure when you decide to open up a second location in Hamburg, like that's a huge benefit because you're already in this market. Like you've already created a brand. There's probably already people on social media that follow you in Hamburg that now they're like, yes, I'm ready. Where if you went to Danville or Georgetown or whatever first, you probably wouldn't have that same buzz about you. And it wouldn't be such an instant like sales bump.
Yes. That's another, just another risk. I don't know that I'm quite there yet for, I don't know. So, I think, me personally, I'm once I get comfortable, it's kind of like a danger zone for me because I'm like, okay, this is working and the money's coming in consistently and things are good. When in reality, I should probably be looking at growth as far as that type of thing goes. But like, oh, that's risky though. So
yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like not everyone has to grow. Like you don't have to, if you're happy with what you're doing and your lifestyle and what you're,
Right.
services you're providing, then just keep expanding that in the same spot without having to work more.
Right.
And great.
Right.
Yes.
And that's another thing is the work more. I mean, so right now I live 7 minutes from recovery room, which is extremely convenient because when I get a phone call that water is pouring out everywhere from one of my employees and they don't know what to do to stop it, I can get there pretty quick and take care of it. So there's been not lots, I won't say lots, but several little instances that has been very convenient for me to be so close. Get over there and handle those.
We might be neighbors.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, we could be.
I live behind Boston Road Kroger.
Oh, okay. No, I'm the opposite way. I'm Pinnacle, your Veterans Park.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but it's,
close.
So, yeah. That is. So, but yeah, you talked about the kind of pains of entrepreneurship and business ownership. And that, I will just definitely say that's been one thing that is just like the 24/7 never stops. It's always something, I spent 1 4th of July over there with my husband we were closed for the holiday, but we were there with a plunge issue, taking the plunge apart piece by piece and trying to figure out what the problem was and talking to the support team from the plunge, and they're on the West Coast. So they're on 4 hours, behind us and that time change and all that kind of stuff. So there's been nights where we've been there till 11 o'clock trying to figure out why something's not working and, different things like that. So that's part of it that, a lot of people don't realize, the 24-hour never stops headaches that pop up.
100%. So Hurricane Helen happened. I was driving back from Owensboro looking at a new location. And I get a call from someone on our team that the exhaust hood over the grill isn't working, which that, we're cooking 12 patties every 30 seconds, like nonstop in peak periods, just 12 patties go down, 30 seconds, you move them over, you drop 12 more patties, 30 seconds, you move them over, So tons of steam, tons of grease, tons of smoke, 450 degree grill, and there's nowhere for the air to go. Right. And so I call out that company and they say, we can't be there till Monday. So I'm like, all right, I drop my GM off. I say, all right, run home, go get your tools. And I'm going to go pick up the motor because I've had to do it before, So we're up on the roof, Hurricane Helen, raining on us, and we're changing this motor out, because that's what we have to do, and the power went out for a lot of people. And so I knew we were going to be busy because a lot of restaurants were going to be out of power.
Right.
A lot of people were going to be out of power and they didn't want to cook food, open their fridge, food go bad, all that good stuff. So we were going to be busy. So I'm like, I have to fix this.
Yes.
I can't have our employees die over this grill. And I've had a similar thing happen with our grill itself. I've called the company. They said, yeah, we can't be out for 2 days. I'm like, I can't stop serving burgers. That's 50% of my sales.
Yes.
I can't stop. So I'm like overnighting parts, working on it all throughout the night, trying to get it fixed and like looking up like manuals and stuff like that. I'm not a grill repair person, but you just got to figure it out.
Right.
It's like, do it or you don't have sales.
That's right. You do have to figure it out. Yeah. I mean, there's not like a local plunge repair guy, believe it or not, around town. So it's,
that surprised me.
Yeah. I had an issue and they have to like contract with some guy. I think he was like going to be coming from Pennsylvania somewhere to fix it or something. So my husband's gotten to be the resident repairman. So he's gotten to be pretty good at kind of figuring out the issues that happen with the plunge. And, knock on wood, we haven't had too many. I can't complain too bad. We haven't had too many major issues. I will say my biggest bonehead move was, so we will drain and refill the water about every week or two, just depending on how many people are in there. So I was doing that and it's about an hour and a half, 2 hour long process. So you drain the tub and then, clean it all out and then refill it we just have a hose that we hook to our washer dryer water and fill it up. And so I knew it took about 30 minutes to fill the tub. And I had to run home for something. I can't even remember what it was at this point. So I was like, I'm going to run home and do this and I'll come right back while the water's refilling. And so, I got home and I get 100 questions. Mom, I'm hungry. Where's this? What's that? And so before I know it, I come back and my son was with me this time. So I come back, I walk in and water is just creeping down the hallway from the plunge room. And I was like, no. So, yep, I had overfilled the cold plunge tub. There was a couple inches of water on the floor in that room. It was seeping into the red light therapy room next door. So I literally used every towel we have in there to sop this up, and the shop vac and everything like that. As I'm cleaning the red light therapy floor, I was squatted down. I come up, I cracked my head open. I'm bleeding everywhere on that.
Wow.
So yeah, that was probably my biggest bonehead move. So I won't try to multitask that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Oof.
but
That's, yeah.
You live and you learn.
You guys probably don't have floor drains either.
No floor drains, but we do have concrete floors. So that's
helps.
a saving grace because they're very durable.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of water on the floors.
It's a lot of mopping and towels.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So,
Man.
But anyway.
So anything you want to talk about for the future or what you've been thinking about, maybe adding services or anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, I think future, we just would like to kind of, like I said, fill our schedule up. We have room in our space to add more of what we have. So I'd eventually like to get another sauna. So we have 2 contrast therapy rooms. And so that would be nice. I think, the red light therapy, there's room for more of that. I hope to get to a point where I can kind of be more in a managerial role and not having to be in there all the time as far as doing the IV. So I'd love to be able to maybe eventually hire a nurse. So definitely would love to see some growth there. And then we do group events too. So that, we have a really nice big space and we've had, like I said, we've had the teams in, and that is so much fun having teams in. These kids, they get in there, they blast their music. This is during off hours, so we're not alienating all the other members. But, we had a group from UK in there, and they were just so cute. They were having fun and cheering each other on in the cold plunge. So it's a really fun environment. We've had, like a women's running group in there, things like that. So I think there's room to grow for that.
It'd be like a
stuff.
Cool team building.
Yes.
Exercise.
Oh yeah. And we've had team building. So we've had a couple small businesses in there that have done team building as well. So it really is. It's like a nice alternative to like the office pizza party,
Yeah.
And it's
I'd love to see my managers get a cold plunge.
Yeah. Bring it on. Yep. I mean, not everybody that gets in that cold plunge is like your, football athlete. It's all shapes and sizes and ages and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So
that's awesome. Well, thank you for coming on.
Of course. It was fun.
It's been educational and fun. And now I know where you are.
Yes. You'll have to add a little ending part with you 2 coming over and hopping in the cold plunge.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
We can do
that. Right.
Maybe
see what kind of noises you guys make.
Maybe we can do a competition of who lasts the longest.
Yes. That's the other thing. When you have, we have couples that come in too, which is really fun, is we have a couples contrast therapy. So they'll do the sauna and the cold plunge, but we've had people get in the plunge together because it's an extra large. So it's big. If you're not incredibly tall, we've had people get in it together facing each other, and that's really fun where it gets to be like a competition. And so
I'm not getting in the cold plunge.
Yeah, I'm not getting in
that's
there
okay.
with you. But.
We can just do a time trial.
Yeah, that's okay. We had Lee and Haley from the Lee and Haley show.
Oh yeah.
They came in and got in there together facing each other. I think we have a clip of it on our website if you want to check it out. But it was hilarious. They are so funny.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are funny.
That's awesome.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on.
Of course.
We'll
It's
make
fun.
sure and put a link to your all's website in show notes.
Thank you.
And put a description of you up there. And it's been fun and learned a lot today.
Good. I'm glad.
Thank you.
Thanks.